Can the existence of God be proven? Hi, I'm Tim Kaiser. Welcome to Sola Melodica. Typically on this channel, we review and reflect and react to music lyrically, looking for a glimmer of God in the gift that is music. What we're doing is diversifying our channel a bit, and what I'm doing is addressing comments and objections that are left behind in the videos. The most common objection or comment just in general is, quote, I'm an atheist, or I don't believe in God, so I figured the first full video of this reacting to comments would be on atheism. And so that's my goal today, is to discuss why I believe in God. And first of all, this is not going. I am not a scholar. Trust me. And so this is not about being some kind of argumentative type thing. This is like a couple people hanging out, sitting together. You know, imagine we're listening to something, some very cool tunes. You know, philosophical Rush, Uriah Heep, something, some prog rock, and someone says, hey, I can't believe you believe in God. And I was like, oh, why don't you believe in God? And so this is just a conversation between friends, right? So if there's comments in the section of the comments and they're kind of ugly and people are just wanting to have a fight, I'm not even going to address those, right? So this is just a conversation from me trying to address the comments fairly. So the first reason why I believe in God is commonly known as the cosmological argument. And since we are a music channel, I'm going to title them with awesome song names. So I'm going to call the cosmological argument, I'm going to call that one Space Odyssey, as a homage to David Bowie. So the cosmological argument is basically, you look outside in the sky and you see all these great things, stars and planets and the Big Dipper and all these great things. You hear these awesome telescopes and you see these great things and you wonder, what happened? How did this come to be? And so the cosmological argument, or we'll call it the space oddity, has two premises and an argument, right? So the first is, whatever begins to exist must have a cause to its existence. So we don't expect, refrigerators to fall out of the sky, or for cars just to spontaneously erupt in our living room, right? Second premise is, the universe began to exist. So if those two premises are true, then therefore we must believe that the universe has a cause to its existence. So whatever begins to exist has a cause to its existence, and the universe began to exist. There is tons of credible information from physics and physicists and cosmologists and even philosophers that discover or have evidence that the universe started at the universe has a birthday, so to speak, right? So it did. So using this argument, there must have been a cause to the universe's existence. And I believe that our universe is so complex, and it's vast, and so it would take something that is powerful and just beyond what we can even fathom as intelligence, right? So dare I say omniscient, omnipotent. Plus, if it just like, hey, I'm going to cause this to happen, it must have been like by choice, so it's personal. I believe the best possible explanation for this argument, or for the space oddity, is that the cause was God. God caused this to happen. He started the universe. And whether you want to believe in God or not, even thinking about, is it possible that there was a cause to our universe, and what was that cause? The second reason that I'm going to submit today that I believe in God is what's commonly known in philosophy as the teleological argument, but since we are a music channel, we're going to call it something different. And we're going to call it in honor of a great metal band. We're going to call it Victim of Changes from Judas Priest. So why would I call it Victim of Changes? So our universe is so considerably complex. There are so many moving parts happening in it at all time. And if there was just a slight change in one of what's called cosmic constants, life would not be permitted in our universe. And I don't mean just like life like me breathing and talking and my heart pumping. I mean zero life whatsoever. And those cosmic constants can be something as like the gravitational pull, can be our proximity to the sun, the moon, Jupiter, things of that nature. Any of those cosmic constants, if they're off even slightly, life ceases to exist. And so any change at all, we would be victims. See what I did there? So here is the argument set forth by people much more, intelligent than me, is that they call this the fine tuning, teleological, but the fine tuning of the universe. The fine tuning of the universe is due to either physical necessity, chance, or design. So what is it? Physical necessity, chance, or design. And the physical necessity. So there is no credible evidence that states that a life-permitting universe is even required. There's none. So the odds of something being life-permitting are probably better to be life-prohibitive than permitting. The chances of us not having any life at all are much better than us having life, right? And so the second thing is chance. Is it possible this could happen by chance? Like people think, well, this stuff just happened, and something happened to something came out of nothing, and then it happened to get all these variables right, and they happened to move at the right time, and the Earth was placed just in the perfect spot away from the sun and the moon and Jupiter, and when we walk out of bed, we don't just go flying through the ceiling because the gravitational pull is different and things of that nature, right? So the temperature of our bodies, 98.6. If it's off by a few degrees, either way, can be life-threatening to us. Those things, by chance, just happen to occur. It's possible, kind of like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, there's a chance, but it'd be like the same thing as, let's say, a baseball player who is known for their glove. Someone who's just fantastic. Let's use Ozzie Smith, famous St. Louis Cardinal, who's probably one of the better glove people of all times. He wasn't known for his power though. So it'd be like Ozzie Smith. The probability of this, like Ozzie Smith having in one season, him going to bat and hitting a home run every single at bat for an entire season. That means no walks, no hit by pitch, no outs, no sick days, no off days, just 162 games, 4 at bats a game, and a home run every single time. Possible? Probably not probable. And the third thing is, So I'm going to say, the person who developed this argument, it is not due, the fine-tuning is not due to physical necessity or chance. So therefore, the fine-tuning of the universe is by design. And so again, this is just kind of one of those things that it's kind of like, it's by design. Why is that so hard to understand or even accept slightly? So I believe the best possible explanation for a fine-tuned universe is a designer. And that designer is not Armani, is not Coco Chanel. That designer is God. So where I live, there are many choices and subjective opinions on things. So I have some people, my friends of mine, who are huge White Sox fans. Others are Cub fans. Some prefer Lou Malnati's pizza, others Giordano's, and even have people who argue over Al's or Bona. or Portillo's for best Italian beef sandwiches. But those are all subjective things that are based on preference or opinion. So we have a couple of different things in this next argument called the moral argument, and that's subjective and objective truth. Subjective opinions, objective truth. And I'm going to call this one in honor of a famous Michigander who was rock and roll king when I was a kid, and that's Bob Seger. Before he was famous as Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, he had a band called Bob Seger and the System, and he had a great song called 2+2. So that's, for most of us, everyone's going to argue everything, but 2+2 is 4, right? Very objective in that idea. The objective, the moral argument, or what we'll call the 2+2 argument, has again two premises and a accept or reject, right? So if you accept the two premises, then you accept the whole thing. So the first one says, if God does not exist, objective moral values and duties do not exist. That's the first premise. The second one is objective moral values and duties do exist. That's 2, right? So therefore, God exists. And so what I want you to hear, what I didn't say, so I'll say it again, is I did not say if God does not, it says if God does not exist. It does not say if I do not believe in God. So belief in God is not requisite for this logical argument to take place. So, but we have a lot of people who are very, subjective in what they think is right and wrong. This argument basically says that we have to have a source of truth so we know what's just, right, and wrong. And so you have something like, we'll just use a real extreme example. So over 1 million people were killed by machete in Rwanda based on just tribal warfare. And there was the perpetrators believed what they were doing is perfectly fine. It was very moral. It was no big deal. They was hacking people to death with machetes. That's objectively wrong, right? There's a lot of things like that are objectively wrong. But so you say people who believe, well, there's no such thing. You can't say what's right and wrong. So then we have what they call the reformer's dilemma. If we think something is wrong and then we try to change it, but then we say, well, we can't make a judgment call on what's right or wrong, we kind of have a dilemma there. So here, the argument is, if God does not exist, objective moral values and duties do not exist. But they do exist. We all know you should not go into a bank and slaughter all the people just to get $1,000. You would say, well, that doesn't make any sense. How can you do that? You should not beat, children for fun. You should not murder people just for your kicks. You should not blow up buildings just because I like explosions and kill people. Those are extremes, but this is all based on logic. And a lot of people in the comments will say stuff like, well, logically, but they have no logical argument. They have opinions. So, this is another argument. This is an internal argument. The first two we had were external. This is internal, so it's inside of us. But what you think about that, you think about how if God is the lawgiver, so he's the lawgiver, and he has objective truth, and we know there's 10 commandments, and very few people argue with those, that those are, oh my God, those are stupid, thou shalt not, you shall not murder, you shall not steal. I mean, people who believe in subjectivity would be upset if someone stole their car. Like, I'm calling the police. Someone stole my car. Well, I thought it doesn't matter. I mean, why is it wrong for someone to steal your car? Why is it wrong for someone to kill you? Why is it wrong for Tim McVeigh to blow up a building in Oklahoma City? Why is it wrong to, murder people without question and just massacre them, burn their house down, rob them, all kinds of crazy stuff. I believe that moral argument, the 2+2 argument, is because we all were made in the likeness and image of God. And we have something inside of us that gives us a moral compass. Now, again, does not say if you don't believe in God, you can't do good things. You can contribute, you can give to the poor, whatever. But you still, that being made, in the likeness and image of God, helps us see things objectively, and we know right from wrong. Okay, so the fourth reason why I believe in God is my first biblical reason, or using the Bible or things of faith to help prove my point, but it's in a different way. So I believe in God because the Bible is a reliable collection of historical documents. It was written by eyewitnesses in the time and the presence of other eyewitnesses, and it has endured and shined through savage scrutiny over the years, and it continues to shine as a reliable historical document. And the scrutiny the Bible faces is much more severe than any other biographical document. Let's say the Gospels of Jesus Christ, let's just say that. But we have things like Tacitus, and we have Alexander the Great, some of Caesar's, the Caesar's writings, things of that nature. They don't have the same number of manuscripts or the same scrutiny, and but it doesn't matter. I guess you're going to have that attack against it. But the Bible has endured and has gone through all the textual criticism and found to be a very reliable historical document, and it's endured all the tests. Trust me, if somebody, we have all the four horsemen of the atheistic apocalypse, out there saying God doesn't exist. But if they were able to, definitively say this is a bunch of crap, this doesn't exist, we would have known by now, right? But it's the same arguments over and over and over, and they continue to be debunked. And thankfully, we have people out there who are working through these things. Now, the textual critics who look at this aren't always Christians. They're just looking at the manuscripts and challenging them. Are they accurate? And there's like over almost 6,000 Greek manuscripts of the New Testament, and of that, then people made more of those in different languages. So the talking about conspiracy theory, if the Bible was like just a bunch of crazy people making up a new religion, one, they were stupid. They were just as stupid as people ever. Because why would you make up a religion where your reward for doing so was not money or fame? Because all the people who were like the disciples and the apostles who say, hey, we were eyewitnesses here, almost all of them died gruesome deaths. They did. And so for their reward was like poverty and murder. So they were really stupid, but they weren't, right? So they believed in this thing so much they were willing to be crucified or hanged or stripped of their flesh or flayed alive or whatever the case happened, if you want to read Fox's Book of Martyrs. So the Bible has endured savage scrutiny, which welcome it. And the fight is still on because people, it's easy to say, oh, this doesn't make any sense, because we just don't want to admit it's possible. The thing is, will this prove the existence of God? No, it won't. There's still going to be an element of faith involved in this. All I'm saying is the probability of these arguments or these reasons should make us pause and think and say, am I willing to bet my life on this? Am I? Is there even a slight bit of truth to this at all, where, man, there's a lot on the line here. And so I think it's often intellectual laziness where we just say it doesn't make any sense to me, and I know all the logic. I'm telling you, logic's hard. It is. The whole mathematical premise behind logic can be very challenging. So I get it, but all I'm asking is you to just think it through. Just think it through. My goal is on these videos, in this video, is just to get people to think, right? So I probably will come back later and do a deep dive into each one of these arguments and expand on it a little more, because I know I just kind of really just brushed the surface. Again, this is me just trying to have a conversation with some people who love music, and for those of you who left comments or objections to my Christian worldview, kind of give you an idea, because a lot of you think that I haven't used logic or I'm crazy because I think about, you know, some person who's like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny or some fictional character. But I believe I have, I do use logic, and again, I want to ensure that those people who I have the opportunity to speak with, that, you know, thank you for coming to this channel. It's amazing to me that I'm giving it my best effort to share the story of Christ with you, and that I don't want you to get hung up on me thinking that I'm not logical or just kind of a buffoon. I guess you can think I'm a buffoon all you want, it doesn't matter. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. If this has been a blessing to you, please like it, subscribe, and we'll continue cranking out music videos once a week, and I will do these videos probably less often than those, because these take a lot more time to prepare for. But thank you again for joining me. May the blessing of God and the grace of God come upon you and overtake you. May you have a life where your right standing with God is based on what Christ did, not on something you're trying to earn. And thank you. Again, thank you. I will see you again soon with a new video.